Good morning and welcome to the Public Service Commission. We're here this morning for a hearing in docket number 2021-30-T. Let's start by taking a roll call of commissioners. Present in the hearing room are Commissioners Powers and Belser. Joining us virtually is Commissioner Thomas. Joining us telephonically is Commissioner Irvin. And I need to ask Mr. Popowski, as attorney for the applicant, do you waive Commissioner Irving appearing virtually but appearing telephonically? He's having some issues connecting with the internet.
I do.
Thank you. I'm going to ask that our staff counsel, Ms. Besley, read the docket, please. Turn your mic on.
Good morning. Commissioners, parties, counselors, the South Carolina Public Service Commission will today hear docket number 2021-30-T, which is the application of Antioch Educational Center for a Class A restricted motor carrier certificate. This hearing was duly noticed for today, Thursday, May 13th, 2021, at 10 o'clock a.m. The applicant and witnesses are present. Vice Chair Belser, the docket is in order.
Thank you, Counselor. We'll take appearances from the parties. Who's representing Antioch Educational Center?
I am Vice Chairman Belser, David Popowski of the Charleston County Bar, and I have with me my assistant, Lori Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Popowski. I understand that the Office of Regulatory Staff is not on the line. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Let's just note for the record that yesterday, May 12th, the Commission received a letter from the Office of Regulatory Staff indicating that they did not intend to participate in the hearing in this matter pursuant to 58-4-50, subsection 10 of the South Carolina Code of Laws. That section allows the Office of Regulatory Staff to opt out of a proceeding. And that letter was filed yesterday afternoon, and the Commission will take notice of that letter if there's no objection from the applicant.
No objection.
Thank you, Mr. Popowski. Are you ready to proceed?
We are, Your Honor.
Please call your first witness.
Preliminarily, Vice Chairman Belser, we have, counting the application, 9 exhibits that have been pre-marked. Ms. Besley, we did that this morning. Perhaps to save time to move this along more efficiently, if I could list those and then move their admission now and then refer to them rather than do it individually each time.
That'll be fine. I don't think there's going to be any objection to that.
Okay. So I will state what the exhibits are and then move their admission. Exhibit 1 will be a photo of the Antioch headquarters. Exhibit 2 will be a photo of one of the 2 express buses. Exhibit 3 will be the proposed fares. Exhibit 4 is an IRS nonprofit determination letter. Exhibit 5 is a map of South Carolina. Exhibit 6 is a map of Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties. Exhibit 7 is the Antioch Express shuttle, proposed shuttle schedule. Exhibit 8 is an email from the Department of Public Safety dated May 11th or 12th, I have to look at. But anyway, an email to Antioch. And exhibit number 9 is the application. I move their admission.
Those will be marked for identification as stated by counsel and entered into the record of this proceeding. Mr. Popowski, if I could just ask for some clarification on exhibit number 8, which is the email regarding the public safety audit. That also includes the audit pages itself, does it not?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Call your first witness if you're ready.
I call Jackie O'Bannon.
Madam. Okay. Ms. Bannon, let's get her on the screen, please, and we'll get the court reporter to swear you in.
Turned on.
Does it show red?
There's no color. No, ma'am.
Just a second, Ms. Bannon. We're having to get the court reporter mic'd up.
Madam Vice Chairman, O'Bannon is her last name.
Thank you.
Apostrophe
I
B.
apologize, Ms. O'Bannon.
Ms. O'Bannon, if you'll raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Ms. O'Bannon, would you please state your full name?
Jacqueline Gail O'Bannon.
And how old are you, Ms. O'Bannon?
I'm 63 years old.
And Ms. O'Bannon, will you give a concise history of your education and work history, please?
I am 63 years old. I was born on August the 8th, 1957, and I am a high school graduate, and I'm also a proud graduate of the University of Washington, Seattle. I hold a Bachelor of Arts degree from there, and I have a master's in public administration from Seattle University in public administration, nonprofit work. And I also have 3 years toward a doctoral degree in organizational leadership from the University of Phoenix.
Okay, and give us the highlights of your work history, please.
I have worked for 4 years starting in 1990 with the Children's Museum of Tacoma, Washington. As a grant writer, I went from there for about 10 years at the African American Museum in Tacoma, Washington as its executive director. I left there and came to South Carolina and worked for about 3 years with Koinonia Ministries as its executive director in Charleston, South Carolina, to come to where I am now in Richland, South Carolina, as the executive director of Antioch Educational Center.
Okay, and will you give a description of what Antioch Educational Center is and does?
Antioch Educational Center is a nonprofit organization dedicated wholly toward assisting members of low-income families in the areas of education, health and wellness, and job preparedness. We basically work with low-income residents in Jasper, Beaufort, and Hampton counties, our primary clientele.
Okay. And if my assistant will pull up the website that it was referred to in your pre-filed testimony, if she can do that. Okay, is that the website, the cover page, the homepage of your website?
It is. Yes, it is.
And if Ms. Adams will just flip through the pages, page by page, so the commission will just have a flavor of that. Can you do that?
Yeah, 1 second.
Just take it each page. Is that, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Just go through them all, and then I just want her.
Okay.
Okay. That does it. And that constitutes the website of Antioch, of the applicant, does it not?
It does.
Okay. And would you state again when it came into existence? The applicant, Annie?
Antioch Educational Center came into existence around 2004, but it was revamped 10 years ago this past March. So in 2011, we revamped it, changed its mission statement, and I came on board.
Okay. All right. And we're here today on an application that Antioch has made to provide passenger service.
Mr. Popowski, I'm sorry to
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but could you ask your there we go, to stop sharing the screen so that we can see you and Mrs. O'Bannon?
Okay, that's it. Got it. Good. Thank you. So again, the application here is to provide passenger service, and it will be, as I understand it, between Jasper and Beaufort counties. Would you describe the proposed service that you have applied for here before the Public Service Commission?
We're seeking permission to run two 25-passenger buses between Ridgeland, downtown Ridgeland, to southern Beaufort County, which takes in primarily Bluffton and Hilton Head Island. And the project also includes, in the same route along the same runway, two stops in parts of Jasper County as you enter into Bluffton, which will take up the largest mall that we have in Jasper County, and also Walmart Mall, and also the hospital in Jasper County. But the majority, 85% of the stops are in southern Beaufort, which are in Bluffton and Hilton Head Island. The purpose of the project is basically to address one of what we feel are three large barriers that are hindering people from going to work, obtaining work, and one of those being affordable housing, and the other one being affordable child care, and then affordable transportation. And it's the latter that we are attempting to address. And we feel that this project is a pilot project, 2-year pilot project. We think that in its design, it's designed as a parking ride where Antioch will not be going around picking up people from different locations, but our headquarters will serve as a parking ride. People can more or less come and park their cars. We are in walking area, very close, within a quarter of a mile to half a mile at most, of 6 of Jasper County low-income housing units. So people can walk here and get on the bus. They can also be dropped off here by a family member who may also need a transportation to work and they only have one car. So we see this as an ideal project where people can get on the bus and go straight into, like I said, the 2 stops in Hardyville, and then on into Bluffton and Hilton Head Island to get to.
Okay. And will this be done in a time-efficient manner for the sake of your riders in terms of the?
It will be. The fact that we won't be making multiple stops, picking up people along the way will drastically cut down the time that a passenger will actually be on the bus and will be going to and from work. They will, like as I said, walk here, get on the bus, and go straight into, I think, about 12 stops that we have lined up. And the bus turns around and comes back and goes back in the afternoon. each of the two buses will make 4 trips per day into southern, Beaufort County.
And why is time efficiency so important to your customer, your low-income customers?
Well, with transportation, one of the main challenges of transportation here and in a rural poor community such as Jasper is that it takes a long time to looking at the situation where most of our residents are in now. It takes a long time to get from Jasper County into southern Beaufort and come back and in the existing situation that we have here in Jasper. It is very important that that low income people like everyone else do not have to spend upwards of 14 hours a day getting to and from work. I mean, if you're away from home 14 hours a day, it basically cuts into the quality of lifestyle. You're not there to see your children off to school more times than not. You're not there to receive them when they come home. You're not there to participate in other parts of life that improve the overall quality of life. For instance, you're not available to go to church meetings in the afternoon after work. You're not available to go and care for an aging parent, and of which Jasper County leads the state in, as far as people at home requiring care by a caregiver. So if you're spending 14 hours a day on a bus, basically all you can do is come back prepared to turn around and go back the next day. So it does kind of dampen the whole overall quality of life. And then there's residue from those areas. If parents aren't there to receive their children in the afternoon and see them up in the morning, then the residue is that someone has to feed your children breakfast. Someone has to make sure your child eats when they come home because you're not there. And then it puts an extra burden on nonprofits and faith-based agencies in the community who have to pick that up. So we feel that by addressing this transportation issue, we won't eliminate all of these problems, but we will take a bite out of it.
And the need for that efficiency was apparent to you prior and prompted you to engage in this project. Tell us about what you saw that prompted you to do that.
Well, Antioch Educational Center is the largest. We serve more clientele per day for Jasper County than any agency. So we see the need. We get requests for gas cards to get to and from work. We get requests from people to ask to repair their cars so that the cars are broken down, they can't get to work. We get requests from people even coming in asking us, can we shoot them to work on the island because their car wasn't started. So it's just a combination of requests that we've received from the community, as well as the need that we know results from parents being gone so long as they attempt to tackle this issue of transportation. And now is really a really, really dark time as we're trying to get not only the people who were working before the coronavirus back to work, we're trying to push that remaining population that say they want to go to work. We're trying to get them out and get them to work.
Okay, thank you. Let's go through the exhibits, and I will ask you to comment on each one. Exhibit number 1, the photo of the headquarters. Can we share that?
Yeah, 1 second.
There you go. Tell us what that is, Ms. O'Bannon.
That is a photograph of Antioch Educational Center's headquarters. That is where we are housed to operate all of our existing 17 programs that we provide throughout the region.
And how many parking spaces are there now for cars to be utilizing this passenger service?
Right now, there are approximately 50 spots, between 25 and 50 spots. It depends. We have room, if you're looking at the photo as I'm looking, it doesn't appear like it, but on the left side, there's parking space by the trees. And on the right side, there is parking space. And in the rear of the building, because Antioch Educational Center not only owns that building, that sits in the heart of Main Street, right in front of the only set of speed bumps in the county. We also own the entire block in its entirety. So there's quite a bit of space that's not being seen by the photograph.
Okay, let's go to exhibit number 2, the photo of a van. Can you share that?
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry.
There you go. Tell us about that, Ms. O'Bannon.
This is one of the two. If you look down on the bumper on the right bottom part of the photograph, you see the bus is marked A2. It's one of two buses that we purchased at the end of February from Carpenter Bus Company in Tennessee from a grant that we received. It's a 25-seater. It's a brand new. It's a 2018 model, but it's a brand new bus with approximately 2,000 miles on the dash. And it's one of the two buses that we're hoping to be allowed to put on the roadway and travel between downtown Ridgeland and southern Beaufort County.
Tell us about the drivers for the two vans. Have you identified them or made arrangements for that?
Yes, we have qualified drivers for the buses. They are drivers that have driven for many years, over a decade. Each one of them have driven for the Jasper County School District. They have excellent driving records. They've already passed their background check and drug tests, and they're just waiting anxiously so that we can begin this project. But they're very qualified individuals. And if I may also add, I've worked alongside these persons for several years, and I know them personally because I have worked very closely with the Jasper County School District throughout the years.
Okay, let's go to exhibit number 3, the
Mr.
proposed
Popowski,
fares.
Mr.
Yes.
May I ask if Ms. O'Bannon can get a little closer to the microphone? She's kind of fading in and out, and there is some background noise that I don't want to miss what she's saying.
Did you hear that?
Better? Is that better?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
All right. We have the proposed fares is now being shown. Would you describe what the proposed fares will be? How you will charge your customers?
We've come up with a fee of $5 per day per rider. And we were fortunate enough, after we received full funding to pay for the buses, we applied for and received a grant from Women in Philanthropy, a foundation off of Hilton Head Island, who afforded us funding. So the first 3 months with proper documentation, we will be able to allow persons within low-income households to ride the bus for free for the first 3 months. And not only does that assist those persons who members of low-income families. It also encourages people who are not working to get up and go to work. And then at the same time, it introduces our project to the community and get the word out that this project is out there and people can try it out and see how reliable it is before the end of the 90 days. And we're also using it as part of our marketing package. But $5 per day after 90 days, unless additional funding is come forward, extending the 90-day free ridership program for low-income persons.
That's $5 round trip, right?
Yes, $5 round trip. And if I may add, if I didn't add before, this only persons who are working are riding the bus. This is a work-only bus carrier.
Okay. If we could put up exhibit number 4, the IRS determination letter. Would you explain what that is very briefly, Ms. O'Bannon?
This is a determination letter given by the Internal Revenue Service to Antioch Educational Center. This allows Antioch Educational Center to be classified as a nonprofit organization through the eyes of the Internal Revenue Services, allowing AEC to receive donations from individuals, agencies, foundations, businesses, and in return, the main benefit of such a class, being in such a class, is that it allows the donor to be able to write off all, if not most, of the donations in taxes.
Okay, let's go back, not referring specifically to this exhibit, to the point you made about the funds that were provided to purchase the buses. Will you explain how you have capitalized this project and purchased the buses, the source of the funds for that?
We applied to the Community Foundation of the Low Country, which has been a partner with AEC for over the last 10 years. We applied to them because we do have a strong partnership with them. They were the individuals who funded our building that we now own. And we went to them and we told them about this project. And even though their main focus of funding has always been Bluffton and Hilton Head Island, we've been quite successful with the Community Foundation of the Low Country in explaining to them that without us in Jasper County, they won't have the workforce they need. So we need to extend that bridge over. And AEC, we asked them to please allow AEC to be the bridge that connects Jasper County to Hilton Head Island and Bluffton, because we need that funding over here, and they in return need our workers. So we were able to convince them of this, and they wrote the check for $110,000 to cover the 2 buses at $55,000 each.
Okay. All right, let's pull up exhibit number 5, just the map of the state. Not to be too elementary here, but there you go. I could enlarge it. And it just shows a map of the state with all of its counties. It gives a perspective. I don't know if we can enlarge that a little bit, Lori. But let me go ahead and start talking about it, since we're all familiar with the geography of our state. But Jasper and Beaufort counties are down at the bottom of the state, and you've testified that you will be providing ridership between from Jasper County and back to you say South Beaufort County, but is that correct? Is this Ms. O'Bannon?
Yes, it is. Because the rest of Beaufort, I mean, there's a large area of Beaufort that we will not be servicing. We are only interested in getting our residents and our neighbors from Jasper into southern Beaufort, Bluffton and Hilton Head Island. There are an enormous number of jobs that are available, employment opportunities, And that area is just in dire need of workers. And we have most, if not all, of that workforce that we can try to help get over there, address some of the issues that they're facing, but more importantly, provide quality, reliable transportation, and get people to work from Jasper into Beaufort County.
Okay, if we could pull up the map of the county, just those counties, that's exhibit number 6, please, Laura.
Yeah, yeah, 1 second. Sorry.
Okay, if we can enlarge that a little bit. The commission can't quite see it, but this is a map of Beaufort, Carlton, Hampton, and Jasper counties that shows the highways and roads by number running through it. And can you describe the proposed service, the roads that will be riding on here?
Antioch Educational Center sits, as I said earlier, in the heart of Bridgeland on Main Street. And what we will do, we'll leave our parking lot area. Each bus will leave the parking lot area, travel less than 1/10 of a mile, and enter onto Highway 17. And once it gets onto Highway 17, it will go up, travel all the way into Hardyville. And you can see Hardyville at the bottom down there. And as you can see, Hardyville is right on the edge of Beaufort County. Once it gets into Hardyville, it will get on Highway 278. And once the bus gets on 278, that's its route. It will travel directly into Hardyville 278, and from Hardyville 2 stops directly across the line into Beaufort County. And Beaufort County goes into Bluffton, and from Bluffton straight into, still on 278 the whole time, into Hilton Head Island. It crosses the bridge after Bluffton into Hilton Head Island, makes it, and there it makes a turnaround and comes back.
Okay. All right. Can you, Lori, would you please pull up exhibit number 7 that shows the shuttle schedule? Okay, and if we can get maybe a complete, would you identify what this is, Mrs. O'Bannon, and tell us about it?
Yes, this is the route. This is the route that the bus will take. Bus A will leave Antioch Educational Center at 5:30 and travel, as I said, 2 stops into Hardyville, which is still Jasper County. It would hit the hospital and New River Center. And New River Center is an up and growing community that services Sun City and Hardyville. And it is it's quite a large shopping center. So we're stopping at those 2 routes because, as I said earlier, it doesn't take the bus off of 278. So it just hits there, comes right back out, and goes from there into Bluffton. It goes all the way down to Indigo Mall, Indigo Run, and Shelter Cove. All of those at the latter end, of course, are Hilton Head Island, and between CBS, New River Center, and Tanger Outlet Mall, we're in Bluffton.
Okay, and it would, Ms. Adams, would you show the second page as well? There are 2 pages of that. Okay, so this gives the times, the scheduled times at each of these stops and the return to the center that you're proposing to do. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, let's look at exhibit number 8. email? Okay. Now, has the vans and has your proposed service been inspected by the South Carolina State Transport Police of the South Carolina Department of Public Safety? Has that occurred?
They have been, yes.
And when did that occur? On May 11th?
May 11th.
2
Earlier
days.
this week, yes, this week.
And this was received by Antioch to Ms. And Mr. Owens will testify very briefly in a little while, in a minute. That says, it says, here's your PDF copy of the safety audit performed on your company. Congratulations on passing your safety audit. Is that correct?
Yes, we're very excited about that.
Okay. And they inspected your vehicles. Is that right? Tell us what they did. Were you there, or would Mr. Owens be more able to test it?
I was here, but I was not outside taking full, participating in the audit. That was handled by our AEC's project manager, Mr. Darrell Owens.
Okay. And the 10-page report, Ms. Adams, do we have that?
Yes.
That was accompanied the email. There you go. And that is a 10-page report of the State Transport Leads Department of Public Safety that accompanied the email. Is that correct?
It is.
Okay. Yeah, would you scan that, just run that real quickly, just so the commission could see the specific way very quickly.
If you need to, if you want us to see that, Mr. Popowski, you need to enlarge it, please.
Okay. There's nothing I'm going to refer to. I just want you to see that it was 10 pages and it, yeah, there you go. Is that Vice Chairman Phelps? Is that better?
That's a little better.
Do you want us larger?
That's fine. I just want you to kind of go through this, see that they asked multiple questions that were satisfactorily answered. Okay. All right. If we can now go to exhibit number 9, the application. And Ms. O'Bannon, this is the application that was filed at the initiation of this case in January. And let's just quickly go through these pages just to, who prepared the application for Antioch, Ms. O'Bannon?
I did.
Okay. And let's go to page 1 of 8. No. Would you go back to page 1 of 8?
Sure. Or this page?
Yes. And it lists the name and address. And down at the bottom, it lists 2 individuals associated with the applicant, Jimmy Lawrence and Bruce Lawyer. Who are those 2 people, Ms. O'Bannon?
Board members. One is Jimmy Lawrence is a board member who serves as manager of Regions Bank, and the other one is Bruce Lawyer, a board member who until very recently sold his transportation company, a very successful transportation company that he ran for over 20 years.
All right, the next page, the financial statement shows total assets $574,500, total liabilities of $33,200. That includes the real estate, the motor vehicles, cash, and other assets and equipment. So is it fair to say that the applicant is solvent?
Yes, and if I may add, since that time, we have been successful in paying down the mortgage. So there is currently no mortgage on the property.
Okay, and pages 3 of 8 of the application and 4 of 8 again, list the origin and destinations and the routes that the vans will be traversing. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. And page 4 of 8 lists the two vans, their year, make, model, and VIN number, etc. Is that correct? Page
that's
4.
correct.
That is the next page after that.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. And let's go to the next page after that, which is the insurance quote. And it shows selective insurance, and that you will have $1 million worth of automobile liability insurance. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And going to page 6 of 8, it lists a fit, willing, and able. It shows, as of yet, you have no safety rating, but no vehicle has been placed out of service, no judgments, and that you and your organization with Mr. Owens are familiar with the rules and regulations of the commission and the insurance requirements. Is that correct?
Yes, if I may add, Mr. Owens was hired within the last 6 weeks to specifically take on this project because he has a long history of dealing with transportation issues as head of Jasper County School District's transportation program. So he was hired to take over this and to oversee that all, guidelines and regulations are adhered to.
Okay, the next page, would you go to the State of South Carolina Office of Secretary of State Certificate of Existence? And that shows that you're in good standing with the South Carolina Secretary of State. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
And the remainder of your application constitutes the full insurance policy with selective insurance. Is that correct?
It does.
Okay. All right. Well, Ms. O'Bannon, thank you very much for setting forth the case of the applicant. We'll have Mr. Owens in a minute. And would you now please answer any questions that the commission staff or the commissioners themselves may have?
I'll be glad to try.
Thank you, Mr. Popowski. Commissioner Powers, I see you have questions.
I do. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Ms. O'Bannon, first let me say I've looked at your website and congratulations and thank you for the job you do in that area. I'm very familiar with the area and spend a lot of time down there, and what you're doing is wonderful.
Thank you.
And you may think I have a stupid question, but looking at the shuttle schedule and one of your mission goals is self-sufficiency and helping people to get jobs. These people who are using your shuttle to get to work, and I'm just guessing a lot of the work they do will be at different hotels and different resorts. How do they get from these stops to their actual jobs?
Well, to answer your question, we're not, this schedule that we submitted to the state for this package is subject to change due to ridership. The actual ridership will dictate the final the final routes. And the initial project that we submitted before our funders said that this is a trial project, and we asked that they give us 2 years to work out the kinks. We recognize that as we sat here in our office and came up with the route, the schedule, and the route, that would very much likely change due to demand. So to answer your question, our 2 buses, our 2 25-seater buses is not going to take on this whole project and solve it. But we do feel that we travel to and from Hilton Head Island, and I am very familiar with the area. We felt that these were the more popular stops, and that is what we addressed the initial route to. Now, as far as people getting from one location in Hilton Head Island after we drop them off to their actual work locations, we are working with the chamber in Bluffton and in Hilton Head Island because some of the employers, and it's a growing number, actually the hotels, as you pointed out, are actually purchasing their own shuttles to help their workers get to work. So, for instance, if you were a hotel owner and you have your shuttle there on the island, you could easily go to one of the stops and pick up your workers. But it's a lot easier on you as a business owner to go to that stop as opposed to coming all the way to Jasper and picking up your workers. So we have a number of things in the works. And let me say this, this is not the complete package that we're working on here as far as dealing with transportation. We're looking at trying to get Bluffton and Beaufort County, specifically Bluffton area, to open up a designated lane to get our buses in and out of there because traffic is so heavy. We're looking at trying to ask the employers on Hilton Head Island to increase the fees that they're paying their workers 10 to 20%. We're asking them to get sign-on bonuses. I mean, this is part of a whole package. So we're not we're not naive enough to think that these two buses can get everybody where they need to go. But it will get these workers closer to where they need to go. It'll get them from our rural communities. If you look at the map where Jasper sits, we have rural communities on the opposite side of Hardyville that has the largest population of all poor communities out there. So we can get those people from the opposite end into Hilton Head Island and Bluffton. We think the employers there can help, like with the shuttle services, come to the bus stops and get their workers. So we have a lot going on with this plan. The buses are just a piece of it.
Well, and I appreciate that. But you know, you and I both know Hilton Head Islands is a big island, and I think that would be an important part of your project is to get the help on the other end to get these workers actually to work rather than to the mall or Home Depot. And with 278 with the traffic, certainly I hope you continue. I'm impressed with your application as far as your qualified drivers. I think the quality of your drivers is so important for many reasons, not just the safety, but for your protection as well as an organization. The other thing I was wondering about, your drivers, obviously you will have at least two, and I'm sure you got other workers involved in your project. Do you have, or would you be willing to make a workers' compensation insurance part of your application?
It is. We already have workers' compensation on our employees here in the office. It's just a matter of once these people come full time on, they will automatically go in there too.
That's
They will
excellent.
automatically be extended those benefits and protection.
And I noticed, you know, a lot of your safety requirements that you had that wouldn't be applicable at this point because you haven't had a history of drivers yet. But I hope you will really stay on top of the keeping up with their records and any violations they may have as you go forward. And I wish you the best of luck. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Other commissioners, any questions for Ms. O'Bannon?
Vice Chair Belcher, this is Commissioner Thomas.
Please proceed, Commissioner Thomas.
Thank you. And Ms. O'Bannon, I would like to express the same comments as Commissioner Powers just did. I think this is a wonderful thing and very much appreciate what you're doing. I had just a couple of little minor questions. So on the safety questions and answers on Part B, the Question number 3. This is NA and relates to the required level of financial responsibility. I assume that that is perhaps because you haven't gotten started yet, but you've got the insurance quote and all that stuff. I mean, should that be a yes instead of an NA, and maybe the safety people fill this out? Maybe you didn't do that, I guess. Any comments on that?
No, but I will say that, what I will say, Commissioner Thomas, to that is that we do have full insurance, even though the route has not started. We started in February with full coverage on the buses. We have done a main voyage with our funders and political supporters. Our from the local municipalities have gone on a ride with us, so we're fully covered and financially responsible. So you're right in saying that this was not done by us, but we stand firm on that. In a position, and we've taken all of the necessary steps we think are needed to ensure that we are financially liable. We're trying to be the most responsible persons on the road, and we want to. That's why we're working very hard, Commissioner Thomas, with trying to designate a specific lane, if you will, for buses, and we're looking at specific stops and working with the chambers, like I said, in different municipalities. We're doing what we think all we can do, and that hasn't been done in the region. We're taking those new steps, like the restricted lanes and things that will help us to ensure safety for our riders and our drivers, because that's foremost important to us. And if we didn't think we could do that, you have my word as the executive director, we would not enter into this project.
Okay. And in connection with safety, are all of the passengers going to be adults, or will you be transporting children? No, we will not. As a matter of fact, once we started promoting, discussing this project and the possibility that we would be moving forward with that, we were approached by a representative from the local school district who asked us if we would include students from the local high school, getting them from Jasper County into Beaufort over in the Hardyville, Bluffton community. We have the University of South Carolina, Beaufort, Bluffton, and then we also have TCL over there, Technical College of the Lowcountry. So the high school has a program where their students, their juniors and seniors, can go in for what's called early college. And they asked us about partnering with them to get their students there. And we told them, no, this was specifically a work project, and it would have to be for people who are 18 and older, would be our ridership. And again, we were approached by the community asking us, could their high school juniors and seniors be transported from Jasper into those communities that had all the job vacancies so that they could work in the summer? And again, we said no. We're looking at specifically adults ages 18 and older. Okay, thank you. Again, appreciate what you're doing. That's all I had.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Commissioners, any other questions?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Urban.
Thank you. Ms. O'Bannon, I too want to echo what the other commissioners have said and commend you for your plan and for your nonprofit program to reach out to assist those low-income residents in that area obtain employment.
I'm sorry, I cannot.
Can you hear me?
Just a moment, Commissioner Urban. Commissioner Urban, try now, please.
All right.
can vaguely, but I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Okay, great. I'll try to speak a little louder. Do you have arrangements for a bus mechanic to maintain to do the general maintenance for the buses?
We do because we have a local shop here in Ridgeland who performed our initial inspection, even that was required by the Transportation Department for South Carolina. Even though they were new buses, they were required to have an initial inspection. And we have a company here that we've already entered into an agreement with, A1 Towing, who will do monthly inspections. But as far as they will deal with minor things, but every 3 months, we will take it into a Ford dealership in Hardyville, OC Welch. We have an agreement there in place. So we have done that. We have already set that in motion.
Excellent. And have you made any arrangements for substitute drivers? Because you have to anticipate that your two drivers that you have are going to have vacation and sick days and that type of thing.
We do, and I'm proud to say that in addition to our drivers, our morning and afternoon drivers, we have a total of 4 individuals that we've identified. Mr. Owens himself, being over Transportation Department, is a CDL qualified person, driver, so he's our backup. We also have a person that we use and have used for, I guess, the last 6 or 7 years, who drives a shuttle van for us. She's also worked the school district for 30 years. She's a backup driver too, and then driver 3 and 4 are, one of them is Bruce Lawyer, the one I told you owned his own company that's on the board. He's available because he's now retired and keeps his license current. And also a board member, Surrender Burson, who's also a board member. She's a backup driver. So we have 4 backup drivers in place.
Great. That's a good plan. And finally, I may have missed it, but what amount of liability insurance coverage are you going to have on the buses?
I don't have the covered insurance sheet, but I think it's $1 million per incident.
Right. And if you, when you get your quotes, since you're running 2 buses, and since you're going to have multiple passengers on each vehicle, I would encourage you to see if you can get more than the minimum limits, because you want to protect your nonprofit from a liability claim, and it probably would be best if you could get additional insurance coverage above and beyond the minimum limits if you can afford it in your budget.
Thank you. We definitely will look into that. That's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, and good luck with your program. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Urban. Mrs. O'Bannon, thank you for your testimony today. It was certainly complete and detailed, and I don't recall having such detailed testimony in recent hearings. So thank you very much for your testimony and your candor today. Is there any redirect, Mr. Popowski?
None.
Okay. Then the witness may step down, and Mr. Popowski, you may call your next witness.
I call Darrell Owens.
Mr. Owens, please, okay, the court reporter will swear you in, please.
Mr. Owens, do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Owens, how old are you?
I'm 55 years old.
And where do you reside?
I reside in Beaufort County, South Carolina, town of Port Royal.
Okay. And were you born and raised in Beaufort County?
Yes, I was raised in Beaufort County, South Carolina.
And tell us about your education.
I attended the public schools of Beaufort County, graduated with my high school diploma, and I attended the Technical College of the Low Country, where I received a 2-year associate's degree in criminal justice. And I've taken several other certification classes in public administration.
Will you walk the commission through the highlights of your work history, your jobs until now?
Yes, and in the 80s, I became a transportation supervisor for the Beaufort County School District. In 1995, Beaufort County was one of the first school districts in the state of South Carolina to outsource their transportation to a private company at the time, which was Late Law Education Services. I became the branch manager for 8 years for Late Law Education Services, running the operation in Beaufort County. When they left Beaufort County, I went over to Chatham County School District with Late Law, serving as their safety operations manager for 2 years. After leaving there, I returned I got out of the school bus transportation for 2 years and sold cars for 2 years. And then I was contacted by Jasper County School District in 2008 to serve as their director of transportation. I served as their director of transportation and for a year before becoming the chief of operations for the Jasper County School District, which I oversaw the transportation department, food services, and all aspects of operations to include facilities with the school district up until 2 years ago, where I transferred back into the role of director of transportation.
All right, and you have recently joined the applicant as project manager, is that correct?
That is correct. I was brought aboard a little over 3 weeks ago to serve as the project manager for Antioch Education.
Okay, and your responsibility would be, would the term chief operating officer of the passenger service be accurate?
That would be accurate, yes, sir.
And you'll be reporting to Ms. O'Bannon, is that correct?
That is correct.
And you have, obviously, from what you have stated, you have extensive experience in the operation and management, including maintenance of vehicles and hiring and, if unfortunately necessary, terminating drivers, etc. You have extensive experience in the passenger transportation industry. Is that correct?
That is correct. I formerly served also as a third-party examiner for the Department of Motor Vehicle Services, where I licensed and trained CDL drivers. I also worked as the safety operations manager for Chatham County School District under Laid Law, where I was responsible for driver compliance, hiring, safety training, monthly safety training, evaluations, and so forth.
And lastly, you're a public servant, is that correct?
That is correct. I currently serve as a councilman for the town of Port Royal.
Okay, thank you. Please answer any questions the commission has.
I'll be more than happy to. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Popowski. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Owens?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Irvin?
Mr. Owens, thank you for assisting this project. You uniquely qualified for this job, and I commend you on your willingness to be available as their employee. With your extensive background in transportation, we're in the process of looking at some regulations that we can recommend to the General Assembly to improve our screening of motor vehicle carriers that come before the commission. I'm just wondering if we could have a virtual hearing at some point with you and get your thoughts on the matter and maybe your recommendations at some appropriate time.
Most definitely.
Well, thank you, and our staff will be in contact with you and make the appropriate arrangements at the appropriate time. It's a long-term process because we have to go through a drafting of the regulations and then submit them to the General Assembly for approval, but we have to get started on it at some point. We haven't reviewed the regulations in many years, so if you would assist us in that way, I would greatly appreciate it. I know the other commissioners would as well. Thank you, sir. No further questions.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Irvin. Commissioners, any other questions? Mr. Owens, since you're seem to be in charge, going to be in charge of the buses, and after hearing Ms. O'Bannon's testimony, I understand that there may be some route changes or schedule changes upcoming. Are y'all aware that any route or schedule changes need to be notified? The commission needs to be notified of those for approval. Are you aware?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's just something that one of those things you got to keep up with. So, just want to make you aware of that. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you very much.
Mr. Popowski, any redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Owens, thank you for your testimony, and you may step down. Mr. Popowski, I think that your witnesses covered their pre-filed testimony in a lot of detail, but just as an abundance of caution, do you wish to have their pre-filed testimony entered into the record?
I do. I so moved, Your Honor.
Okay, then we will make sure that the pre-filed testimony of Ms. Jackie O'Bannon and the pre-filed testimony of Mr. Darrell Owens are included in the record as well. Anything further, Mr. Popowski?
No, Your Honor, that the applicant submits its case, and if you go have I'd like to make a short closing at the appropriate time.
I think we're ready for that, Mr. Popowski. You may proceed.
Your Honor, this is my 40th year of appearing before the commission. I first appeared before the commission in 1981 after I returned from Washington as a lawyer with the Interstate Commerce Commission, and preceded by that as a graduate of the University of South Carolina Law School. This is one of the most worthwhile projects that I have seen in my career, and I've had the honor to represent before the commission. I would urge, I think it has met all the statutory and regulatory requirements for granting this application, and I would respectfully submit that the commission give the application its immediate and careful consideration. Thank you very much to all the commissioners for being here and for your time and being such attentive adjudicators of this matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Popowski. If there's nothing further in this matter, just a moment, please. If there's nothing further to come before the commission in this matter, we will close this hearing. And Mr. Popowski, as you're aware, this matter will be on an upcoming agenda meeting, weekly agenda meeting, and we will notify y'all of our decision. Thank you
very much.
Thank you all for your participation today. Thank you.
Thank you.